If you are required to convert to the new syllabus of the EASA Regulation EU 2023-989, then by now, you will have been thinking about what you need to do to get your exam database in compliance with the new regulation. If you are using the QBgenerator exam management software by Total Training Support, then we can help. This video shows you what you need to do to your syllabus structure within the software application, and some areas in which we can save you several hours of admin work. In this explanation video, we will refer to the acceptable means of compliance and guidance material to Annex 3, Part 66, to Commission Regulation EU No. 1321/2014, showing the new syllabus of Part 66, and the respective levels of the subjects and subsections in each module, per license category group. The AMCGM also shows the minimum quantity of questions that you should use in your exams, per subsection, for each module. Refer also to the corrigendum, which shows some corrections made to the original Issue 2, Amendment 8 of the AMCGM. All the work required to install the new syllabus on your QBgenerator software installation is carried out within the settings, using the modules and the subsections pages as required. You can copy and paste information from the AMCGM PDF document as required. Let's go through the modules, starting from Module 1, Mathematics. Module 1. Module 1, Mathematics, is not directly affected by the new syllabus of Regulation EU 2023-989. It is the only module that has no changes in its syllabus content. However, like all other modules, you may want to change the module name to all capitals, so it is in accordance with the new syllabus format. Similarly, for the subsection titles, you need to change the text to sentence case. This is where only the first letter of the title is capitalized, all other words in the titles start with lowercase letters. Apart from these minor changes, Module 1 has no other changes in its content or in the levels of the subjects. The license category headings have merged B1, B2, and B3, and B2L is added here. This can simply be written into the field on the modules page as shown here. Module 2, Physics. In Module 2, you need to do something similar to what you did for Module 1. Change the module name to all caps and the subsection titles to sentence case. You also need to merge the B1 and B2 because they are now identical in content and levels, and add the B2L into the categories field on the modules page. Category B3 is now grouped with Category A. In Submodule 2.1 Matter, the B1, B2 and B2L categories are upgraded from Level 1 to Level 2. You will need to replace all the questions in the database for this subsection. In Submodules 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3, the Category B2 questions are upgraded from Level 1 to Level 2. The questions that are used for Category B1 will now be available for use in Category B2, in these subsections. If your organization is approved to deliver Category A, then you must enable subsection 2.3b, at Level 1. You will need to provide questions at Level 1 for this subsection. Module 3, Electrical Fundamentals. Edit the module name to the more correct term, Electrics Fundamentals, and after changing the letter case structure for the module name and subsection titles, merge B1 and B2 together, and add B2L. Next, change the subsection title of 3.5 to Sources of DC Electricity. For Category B1, B2, and B2L, the only other amendment you need to make is to 3.7, which has resistor color code, values and tolerances, preferred values, wattage ratings, and resistors in series and parallel. Move to Section B, Thus these subjects are downgraded from Level 2 to Level 1. You will need to make adjustments to the questions relating to these subjects in the database, deleting the old questions from 3.7a, and providing some new Level 1 questions in subsection 3.7b. If your organization is approved to deliver Category A, then you must enable subsection 3.6, DC circuits, at Level 1. You will need to provide questions at Level 1 for this subsection. Module 4, Electronic Fundamentals. On the subsections page, note that B1 and B3 are now merged, and B2L is added to the category B2. Several subject amendments are made in 4.1.1 diodes, some subjects are moved from subsection A to subsection B, and some subjects are moved from subsection B to subsection A. There is no change in level, but you must remember to move the associated questions from A to B, or B to A, as appropriate. In 4.1.2 transistors, there is some additions to the content, namely, operation and amplifier stages connecting methods, resistive, capacitive, direct, inverting, non-inverting and adding. In 4.1.3 integrated circuits, category B2 and B2L now include subsection A, at level 2. You will need to migrate the level 2 questions relating to description and operation of logic circuits and linear circuits, from subsection B to subsection A. In 4.3 servo mechanisms, category B2 and B2L now include subsection A, at level 2. You will need to migrate the level 2 questions relating to servo mechanisms, from subsection B to subsection A. The subjects of understanding of the following principles: servo mechanism, null, overshoot, damping, deadband, hunting, proximity switches, are added. You will need to provide questions for these subjects at level 1, 4B1 and B3, and migrate from B to A, level 2 questions, for B2 and B2L. In subsection B, PID controller is added to the syllabus. Provide questions as required. Module 5, Digital Techniques and Electronic Instrument Systems. All the B1 subcategories, B1.1, B1.2, B1.3 and B1.4 are now merged into a simple B1 category. B2L is added to B2. In subsection 5.1, all categories are now level 1. Replace the questions as required, or if your organization is authorized to deliver category A training and examination, the level 1 questions previously used exclusively for category A are now available for use in category B1, B2, B3, and B2L exams. Some minor changes to grammar in the subsections exist. Compare old and new carefully. For example, databuses is now databuses, with a space, and fiber optics is now fiber optics, with a space. The biggest content change in Module 5 is in 5.15 Typical Electronic Digital Aircraft System, where all categories are now examined at Level 1. Category A is also examined at Level 1, where previously this was not required at all. Amend the levels in the fields in the subsections page, and provide new questions as appropriate. Note also that there is some subject movement from subsection A to subsection B, for example ICAS, and considerable rewording and regrammaring of the syllabus content. Module 6, Materials and Hardware. 3 new sections are added, 6.1c, 6.2c, and 6.3.1c. You will need to provide new questions for these new subsections. However, much of the content is brought from Module 7, so some of the questions can be migrated from there. Note that 6.3.3 fabric covering is no longer required for Category A. Module 7, Maintenance Practices. Subsection 7.1 Safety Precautions Aircraft and Workshop has new subjects added: fuel tank safety and fuel tank entry procedures and precautions, and awareness and precautions regarding aircraft equipped with ballistic recovery systems. You will need to provide questions relating to these new subjects. Subsection 7.4 Avionic General Test Equipment is now removed. It has been transferred to the respective subsections of Modules 11, 12, and 13. Subsection 7.7 Electrical Wiring Interconnection System, UWIS, has high-intensity radiated fields, HIRF, and protection principles, and soldering of electrical wires. You will need to provide questions for these subjects at Level 3 for categories B1, B2, B3, and B2L, and Level 1 for Category A. Subsection 7.15 Welding, brazing, soldering and bonding is removed. Much of the content is used in 6.1c, and 6.2c, and 7.7, so many of the questions can be migrated to there. Use the bulk function, move, for this purpose. Subsection 7.21 Documentation and Communication is an entirely new subsection. You can add this new subsection to the QB structure using the Add a New Subsection button, and fill in the details of the subsection number and name, levels for the license categories, and quantity of questions required. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. You will need to supply adequate quantities of questions to populate this new subsection. Many of the questions in Module 9.7 may be appropriate. You can copy the selected questions from 9.7 using the bulk function, copy. Module 8, Basic Aerodynamics. Categories B1 and B2 is merged, and B2L is added. B3 is merged with Category A. Subsection 8.4 Flight Stability and Dynamics is now moved to subsection 8.5. Simply rename the subsection number, and click Save. You must then migrate all the questions from 8.4 to 8.5 using the bulk function, Edit. Use the Copy Subsection to All Questions button as required. In the place of subsection 8.4, there is now an entirely new subject, High-Speed Airflow. You can add this new subsection to the QB structure using the Add a New Subsection button, and fill in the details of the subsection number and name, levels for the license categories, and quantity of questions required. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. You will need to supply adequate quantities of questions to populate this new subsection. The questions in Module 11.1.2 can be migrated here. You can move the selected questions from 11.1.2 using the bulk function, move. Module 9, Human Factors. There are several changes that must be applied. Firstly, all categories are merged together. There is now no difference in the contents of Module 9 for the different categories A, B1, B2, B3, and B2L. Subsection 9.3 Social Psychology has the word accountability added. You may wish to add some questions relating to this new content. Subsection 9.4 has a name change from factors affecting performance to factors that affect performance, and has a new subject, lack of manpower, added. You may wish to add some questions relating to this new content. Subsection 9.5, Physical Environment, has a new subject, situational awareness, added. You may wish to add some questions relating to this new content. Subsection 9.6, Tasks, has two new subjects, critical maintenance tasks and error capturing methods, and technical documentation, access, use, and quality. You may wish to add some questions relating to this new content. Subsection 9.8, Human Error, has a new subject, organizational errors. You may wish to add some questions relating to this new content. For each of these new subjects, you can copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. Subsection 9.9, Hazards in the Workplace, is entirely replaced with Safety Management. Considerable new content is added here, requiring the provision of new questions as required. Edit the subsection title. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. Subsection 9.10, The Dirty Dozen and Risk Mitigation, is an entirely new subsection. You can add this new subsection to the QB structure using the Add a New Subsection button, and fill in the details of the subsection number and name, levels for the license categories, and quantity of questions required. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. You will need to supply adequate quantities of questions to populate this new subsection. For the next 5 modules, Modules 10, 11A, 11B, 12 and 13, the contents and structures are so different from the old syllabus that a simple adjustment inside the modules is not recommended. We recommend building new modules alongside the existing Modules 10, 11A, 11B, 12 and 13, and migrating the exam questions from the old modules to the new modules, as required. This is particularly beneficial if you have an existing training program that needs to be examined on the old syllabus system, and a new training program that needs to be examined on the new syllabus system. In Modules 10, some new subjects and subsections are added, including new subsections 10.4 Independent Certifying Staff, 10.8 Oversight Principles in Continuing Airworthiness, 10.10 Cybersecurity in Aviation Maintenance, and the existing subsections have migrated to new subsection numbers, and considerable new subjects within each existing subject. Some of the old questions can be migrated, perhaps to entirely different subsections in the new Module 10, but a considerable number of new questions will need to be provided for the new subjects and new subsections. Module 11A is now called 11B 1.1, for turbine engine aeroplanes, and 11B is now called 11B 1.2, for piston engine aeroplanes. 11C is withdrawn. Within the new modules 11B 1.1 and 11B 1.2, some subjects are removed, for example, high-speed flight is migrated to Module 8.4. Some new subjects are added, for example, airborne towing devices, glider, banner, target. Types and uses of avionics general test equipment, migrated from Module 7.4, and a large amount of subject reconfiguring and associated subsection title changes. The same goes for Module 12, helicopters, for example, subsection 12.16 pneumatic and vacuum systems, is withdrawn. And Module 13, aircraft aerodynamics, structures, and systems, is totally restructured. Note that EASA have inexplicably declared that the B1.1 aeroplane mechanic does not need to understand fire protection systems to the same level as do helicopter mechanics or avionics mechanics. 11.8 is downgraded from Level 3 to Level 1. Similarly, EASA have declared that there are no piston engine aeroplanes with an air conditioning system of any kind. 11.4c is removed entirely from the syllabus for the B1.2 mechanic. You can add new modules using the Add a New Module button. Fill the module number and name, and add the applicable license categories, and add the quantity of questions to be used per exam. Next, you populate each new module with the subsections, one by one, using the Add a New Subsection button. Add the subsection number and name, add the quantity of questions per subsection, and the question levels according to the license categories. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM PDF file and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. The new module and subsection build requires about 2 to 3 hours per module. Therefore, we have developed a tool that we can apply to your QB installation which generates the new modules, the subsection structure, complete with license categories, question levels, question quantities, and syllabus content. All you need to provide is the questions. Either migrate from the old modules or provide new questions as required. We can also provide you the new questions for any of the new subjects and new subsections as required. Please contact us if you would like more information on these services. Module 14, Propulsion. This module has several new subsections. 14.1b, Constructional Arrangement and Operation of Auxiliary Power Units. 14.1c, Constructional Arrangement and Operation of Piston Engines. 14.1d, Constructional Arrangement and Operation of Electric and Hybrid Engines, their electric energy storage and control systems. And 14.3 Propeller Systems. Additionally, some changes within subsection 14.2 Electronic Engine Indication Systems are made. You can add all these new subsections to the QB structure using the Add a New Subsection button, and fill in the details of the subsection number and name, levels for the license categories, and quantity of questions required. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. You will need to supply adequate quantities of questions to populate this new subsection. Many of them can be migrated from existing modules and subsections, if you have them, for example, 15.18 Auxiliary Power Units, 16.1 Fundamentals of Piston Engines, and 17.1 Fundamentals of Propellers. Nonetheless, many new questions must be provided for some subjects such as 14.1d, Constructional Arrangement and Operation of Electric and Hybrid Engines, their electric energy storage and control systems. Module 15, Gas Turbine Engine. Module 15 has subsection 15.15, Thrust Augmentation Systems, replaced by alternate turbine constructions. We recommend that you create a new subsection, with the same number, 15.15, but new title, alongside the thrust augmentation systems. This lets you perform exams for an existing training program that needs to be examined on the old syllabus system, and to perform exams for the new training program that needs to be examined on the new syllabus system. Simply tick the box, Exclude, on the subsection page to inhibit the subsection that you do not want QB to use for the particular exam. Note also the change in grammar and terminology of the module title, with the inclusion of the hyphen between gas and turbine, and the removal of the hyphen on subsections 15.16 turboprop engines and 15.17 turboshaft engines. Module 16, Piston Engine. Module 16 has a new subsection, 16.14 Alternate Piston Engine Constructions. Again, add the new subsection using the Add a New Subsection button, and fill in the details of the subsection number and name, levels for the license categories, and quantity of questions required. Copy and paste the subsection content from the AMC-GM syllabus PDF file, and configure the text using the WYSIWYG toolbar tools as required. You will need to supply adequate quantities of questions to populate this new subsection. Module 17, Propeller. Module 17 has only one minor addition to its content. That is the term thrust face in subsection 17.2. Add the dash bullets for the subject contents, and Module 17 requires no further adjustment. When it comes to filling the question quantities on the subsection page, the acceptable means of compliance and guidance material to Annex 3, Part 66, to Commission Regulation, EU, No. 1321/2014, Issue 2, Amendment 8, now provides these details. Starting on page 64, the question quantities, per subsection, and per license category, are clearly shown. Transfer these numbers to the respective fields in the subsections page. Refer also to the corrigendum to Decision 2023-019R, as there are some amendments to the AMC-GM, especially in Module 3. You may need to make a review of your existing question quantities in the database. The question numbers here indicate how many questions exist in your database at the appropriate level, 1, 2 or 3. You may find, even after migrating questions as required, and providing new questions for the new subsections, that you still have some deficiencies in question quantities for the existing subsections. If you do need more exam questions, please contact us with the precise details of the quantities you require, and for which subsections.